Hello, I will now call the February 13th meeting of the Education Professional Standards Board Waiver Committee to order. I am joined this morning by my fellow committee members, Corinne Murphy. I'm so sorry. You're good. See you again. Nice to see you too. And Wade Stanfield will be joining us shortly. We have 12 waivers to review and formulate a recommendation to present to the full board. We will start with waiver A, presented by Brandon Herod.
So waiver A was submitted by Morgan State University on behalf of William Dillon. It is a alternative placement waiver request. William Dillon is a music teacher, student, or a music educational student at Morgan State University. They were trying to place him with a elementary music teacher. They're seeing some issues with finding availability in the district, and so they have requested that Mr. Dillon complete his 70-day placement at the middle and high school level.
And these are pretty standard requests that you see. There is a process for when they get these signed off on by districts to have it go the consent route. However, it's hard for them. Sometimes it's harder for get the districts to consent with it, with everything that's going on. So they do support it. They just don't have the districts up to the consent route. Good morning, Wade. We are just now getting started on waiver A.
And if I'm not mistaken, we usually allow these unless you see these.
All right, so it's done.
Does anyone have any other questions about waiver A? So I make a motion that we approve waiver A.
Second.
Waiver A, having been reviewed by the committee, and we will recommend waiver A when we get in full body. So the next waiver is waiver B, and it will be presented. I'm sorry, I can't see who's presented by. Usually it says it on here, I'm sorry.
So waiver B is very similar. It is Morgan State on behalf of Dexter Kidd. Same scenario in which Dexter is a music education student seeking a certification as a music teacher. They're having an issue finding elementary placement, and they wish that he complete his student teaching at the middle and high school setting.
So same thing. I recommend we approve waiver B, I'm sorry. Any discussion or? Sorry. These are pretty cut dry, I apologize. So on to waiver C, I assume same person?
Waiver C is very similar. Morgan State University on behalf of Charles Bullbridge. They are requesting that he be able to complete his 70 days at the middle and high school level since they cannot find elementary placement.
Anybody else want to make a recommendation?
I do. I think we approve it.
All right, I'll second. On to waiver D.
Waiver D is Morgan State University on behalf of Mason Eagley. They are also requesting that he complete his student teaching at the middle and high school level since they cannot find elementary placement for music.
All righty.
I recommend approval.
Second. Okay, on to waiver E.
So waiver E is a little different. For Morgan State University, it's also an alternative student teaching placement request for Hannah Marcelet. Hannah is an MSD student at Morgan State University. They're wanting her to do a replacement in McDonough County. McDonough County does not have an MSD certified teacher that has 3 years experience. So what they've done is they've developed kind of a three-prong approach. The teacher that will be on record as the cooperating teacher has an LBD license. They will be overseeing both her and the new MSD hire that they're going to have her work with that has 1 year of experience and is a former Morgan State graduate. So she's very familiar with the program and will be able to provide that content for Ms. Marcelet, while also being overseen by a teacher that has an LBD certification that has over 10 years of experience. So that's how they're trying to get that experience requirement for cooperating teacher.
Okay, help me, I'm not ECE. Can you tell me what MSD is?
So MSD is moderate to severe disabilities. LBD is learning and behavioral disabilities. And so they also have a representative from the local co-op from KVEC that will be coming out also, Ms. Combs. She will be observing both the cooperating teacher and, or I'm sorry, the student and the first year hire. It's something that the co-op does. They have them come out and work with first year hires. So she'll also get that experience from the cooperating, the co-op that's in the area. They've also got a supporting letter from the director of special education from Algonquin County who supports this placement and all that they've done to set up all the support for the student teacher. They're hoping that if the student teacher does very well that and completes her program, that they can potentially approach her for hiring to help with their MSD situation individuals. And so having exhausted all possibilities and forming this plan, Morehead State is requesting that approval of this placement.
Any further discussion?
Thought it would have created some
I just-
challenges.
But they got it all covered.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll surely offer a motion to approve.
On to waiver F.
And waiver F is requested by Bourbon County Schools. They have a teacher, they've had a high school biology position that has been posted for several weeks since early in the school year. They've not been able to find a qualified applicant. They do have an applicant who has applied, however, his GPA falls below the 2.5 cumulative or the 3.0 in the last 60 hours. They are requesting a waiver of the GPA requirements in 2120 to allow him to finish out the school year. He's been serving as a sub.
So what is his G?
His cumulative is 2.23. And I did not calculate the last 3.0 or the last 60 because I looked at the semesters and each semester. If you remember, I believe you might remember Kathy last year, there was a waiver that allowed anybody that had another 2.0 or wanted a related waiver for the school year, that we could allow emergencies if they were above a 2.0. So it's not out of.
And it only extends to May.
It's only for the first. They would have to, if they don't get another teacher for this position and they want to apply, or they want him to remain in the position, they would have to request another waiver.
Any further discussion? Questions? Anyone like to make a motion?
Or you're second.
That's fine. Either way.
All seconds. Okay.
On to waiver G.
Waiver G is requested by Miss April Piper. She's a former KDE employee of 15 years. Before coming to KDE, she was a high school English teacher for 12 years. She holds DPP certification and supervisor of instruction and administrator certification. And in her time with KDE, although she's never served in a school district administrator level position, she held administrative roles here at KDE in terms of academic program manager. And there were some other, she was like director over gifted and talented and IDE program here at KDE. During her time at KDE, while she was, after finishing her DPP and supervisor program, she finished Murray State's the superintendent program. And she is requesting a waiver of 3090, which there's wording in the superintendent section of that regulation that says other administrative level experience may be approved by the board. She is asking the board to allow her KDE administrator experience to count as the 2 years of administrator experience so that she can issue the superintendent certification. So she's already completed the program. She's asking the board to allow her KDE to meet that 2-year administrator.
Board ever done that?
Yes, they had, and that The actual wording in the regulation may be helpful here. It says at least 2 years of experience in a position of school principal, supervisor of instruction, school counselor, director of pupil personnel, director of special education, school business administrator, local district coordinator of vocational education, or a coordinator, administrator, or supervisor of district-wide services. Other administrative experience may be substituted for this requirement with the approval of the EPSB. So these are handled through the waiver committee, but it's not technically a waiver. It is a request to be able to utilize this other administrative experience. I don't know that we've had one that is exactly like this circumstance, but the board has seen other individuals that have come through that have something that does not fall within those named positions, but is other administrative experience. Now, had she been issued the certificate, your regulations would allow her to use her experience to renew that certificate. And I do believe in her materials, and Crystal can talk about that more, I'm sure. She provided some explanation about specific district experience that she had, so that she was actually in the district as well.
The list you read from the regulations, or any of those outside of a school? I was listening, but it went pretty fast.
Well, there's coordinator, administrator, or supervisor of district-wide services, so not within a school, but within a district. And so that would kind of be the same for the DPP, director of special ed, school business administrator, and those could be the district level, not simply a school level.
Any other questions or comments?
In the past, has there been discussion around so we're kind of identifying equivalency, right, administrative responsibilities. The review of staff and administrative obligations related to leadership and that sort of thing. Did she have that within that role, and is it comparable to what we've said yes to in the past?
She, I believe in her documentation that she provided, I think I remember seeing that it mentioned she oversaw a team, where she had like evaluation duties within KP on her team and OCL, Office of Special Education.
So I believe here she was equating her experience similar to that of a director of special ed.
Right.
Which is one of the positions
Yes.
for which she could not even have to have it.
So basically, local. Protect her.
And she also, her and her team also work directly with and like the training with district, yes. She worked directly, they provided training to the district level.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone like to make a motion?
Second.
Second. On to waiver H.
Waiver H is a waiver request by Campbell County Schools on behalf of Nate Owens. This is a waiver of 4030, which is the out-of-state preparation waiver. He's a 2019 graduate of the University of Cincinnati. 4030 requires that an out-of-state prepared educator should possess the equivalent certificate from the state or jurisdiction where they complete the program. Upon graduation from University of Cincinnati, he started applying for jobs in Kentucky right away. He's hired, or has an offer of employment in Campbell County as an LBD teacher, special ed. He's taken and passed Kentucky's testing requirement, but he has not obtained the equivalent certification. So he's requesting that the board waive the requirement, must possess the Ohio certification, so he can start his. He issued the Kentucky certification. This one is one that we've seen several.
Any additional questions or concerns? All righty, anyone want to make a motion? On to waiver I.
Waiver I is requested by Samantha Monan. This is a waiver of 6010, which is the assessment regulation, specifically the 5-year test recency. With the EPSB's adoption of the -1 SEM at the December board meeting, we will have, actually, there's a couple of these on the waiver agenda today. One of her tests, well, let me back up. She was in an LBD elementary dual cert program, graduated in 2017, had taken all of her tests, had passed all of them except for one, her elementary social studies test. But with the -1 SEM, her test score now falls within the range. So she's asking the board to accept the test score for the 5 years. Happy day. We've made a lot of people happy.
Hey, they're coming.
Good. They're all
Which is good work.
Yeah, well, that's my opinion.
Oh,
Alrighty, if there's no further questions or discussions, anyone would like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
Alrighty, I'll second. The motion that we passed it. Okay, on to waiver J.
Waiver J is similar in nature. This is requested by Ira Rogers. Completed an LBD program in 2010. Went on to complete a master's in counseling. After that, she's been serving as a school counselor. With the -1 SEM, her LBD score, she never had added her LBD certification because her score did not meet passing at the time, but with -1 SEM, it is now within the passing range, and so she wants to add that to the school counselor. This Tyra Rogers, she LBD went on to, she got her LBD certification and went on to be a school counselor, been serving in the school counselor role. Now with this -1 SEM, she wants to be able to add that to her credential.
So she never got the LBD certificate.
She never got the LBD certification.
She's an acting counselor.
Yeah. Yeah, with the counselor, you no longer have to have the prior school.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
No, counsel. Good.
Different address.
Yes, that'll be.
You recuse yourself.
I'm pretty sure, because I'm like, I said she's up on, okay.
All right, if there's no further questions or discussion, I'll make a motion that we pass
I'll
this.
second.
There we go. Waiver K, please.
Waiver K is requested by Amanda Sturgill. This is also for the 6010. This one's a little bit different. This has nothing to do with -1 SEM. This was a oversight on the part of the EPP and then following. She completed her LBD program in 2010 at Union College. She had the test completed and passed at that time. However, when Union made the recommendation for a rank change, they did not recommend the certification. She had previously completed an elementary program and has been serving as an elementary teacher since that time. And only recently, when she went to apply for a special ed position, her district said, you don't have a special ed certificate. And she was unaware. So she didn't check it herself, but when she looked into it and contacted our office, the union never made the recommendation. And we do have in your document that was provided, there was a letter from the acting union that says, yes, it was their oversight. We put it in. Test is more than 10 years old now, but it's the same test we use now and it was passing.
So it was just a mistake. It wasn't some reason why they didn't recommend. Okay, well, any other questions? Okay, I will make a motion that we definitely pass this 4th time. All right. Great. That's why you check your credentials every year.
Yes. That's I'm a waiver L is requested by Derek Calvert. This is also a waiver of 6010 assessment recency. He's a 2022 MAT graduate at Georgetown from the LBD program. I wrote LBD, but then below it, I wrote like, actually, it's middle school math. MAT for middle school math. He had taken his content assessment in April of 22. April of 2017, and he passed it, but he didn't graduate until May of 2022. The middle school math content assessment with more than 5 years. Several letters of support in his documentation, most notably his principal was pushing hard for this curriculum and to be certified for this.
Any questions or just further discussion? Alrighty, I make a motion that we approve waiver L. Any other discussion or questions? Okay. Hearing no further discussion, at this time, the waiver committee meeting is adjourned.